All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises and the highest honors to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Yahweh being the name of the Heavenly Father in Paleo Ancient Hebrew, Yahweh Shai being the name of the one you ignorantly call Jesus Christ, his name in Paleo Ancient Hebrew. Double honors to the Apostle Elders, great millstone that rule well, and salutations to you few brothers and sisters that preach, or a few brothers that preach and teach this and prophesy this word, truth, and sincerity. And to you few sisters out there, like to bid you shalom, shalom. It's Brother Ariaga from the Grand Rapids, Michigan camp here with another nifty lesson. Let's get into it. All right, so what you have now is these energy lockdowns that's coming. All of this is leading to martial law, okay? And the closer we get to this third world war and this mark of the beast coming out, the more prevalent these things will become. Everything is happening pretty fast right now, but on the rollout of the mandatory mark of the beast, things will be extremely fast, because if the Lord didn't, the things that are coming, because this devil is about to come down with great wrath, because he knows he has but a short time, as the scriptures say. So the wrath that he's about to come down with is severe. And with that wrath, you're going to see a lot of individuals disappearing. A lot of people are going to lose their life. And it is because the Heavenly Father has deemed it so. 2/3 of our people, a countless amount of other nations, all right, especially the ones here in America. All right, so this judgment is coming soon. And this is just another precursor to these things transpiring right before your eyes. Because understand this, all right, this whole, the energy crisis and what have you, all of that is part of a well-placed plan that they have established. And within that plan, or that device, right, which is an evil plan, it's all about money. It's all about continuously creating a strain on the people and making it look like, with these cameras and these theatrical lines and scripts and situations, what they do is they make it seem like this is just happening by chance. They've been talking about bringing in these 15-minute cities and what have you. They've been talking about doing shit like that. What do you think they did that to Paradise, California, places like Maui, okay? Burn them the fuck down. And what are they doing? It's like with Gaza as well. They want to put these 15-minute electronic digital cities in place, right? Because it's all about control. Controlling how far you can go, how much money you can make, and just being able to track your location at all times, right? By controlling your ability to travel. This is why they want to push that electric cars. Everybody making mandatory to drive electric cars. Everybody by, what was that? I think it said like 2030 or something like that. And the reason is because they knew going into this third world war, who controls the majority of the oil? Well, Venezuela is the third leading producer in the world, so they took Venezuela, but that oil is in like Saudi, like the port of Hormuz, being able to get that Middle Eastern oil. And so now that they don't have access to that heavily, and all of these refinery plants are being destroyed in Saudi Arabia and Kuwait, you know what I'm saying, by these Iranian missile strikes, it's creating a situation where the market is becoming extremely volatile so far as the food and the oil prices. And what they're doing is they're going into an energy lockdown. And within that energy lockdown, they'll be able to severely limit your access to getting from point A to point B in your own vehicle, claiming that, since we're digging into our reserves, we have to basically slowly or quickly phase out fossil fuel vehicles and allow them to bring in these 100% electric cars once again, to be able to control your movements, where you go, and just know where you are at all times. That's what it's all about. All right, so let's get into it.
A new global lockdown is coming. A new global lockdown is coming, and it's getting serious. This time it's all about energy. Countries are rationing gas. Some are putting limits on how much fuel you can buy. Others are even grounding flights. Slovenia has already become the first country in Europe to implement fuel rationing. South Korea is doing the same thing. They're putting QR codes at the gas pump that limits how much gas each citizen can buy. The Philippines is trying to ground all flights because they don't have any fuel. American Airlines has cut flights by 5%. Governments around the world are trying to push work-at-home mandates to save fuel. Even the International Energy Agency is trying to restrict non-essential travel. Now, does this sound familiar? In 2020, we were told that lockdowns would only last a few weeks. It lasted years. Now, instead of a health crisis, we could be entering a period of peak energy, and it could be just as dangerous as a virus. The new world will be dominated by the power triad, compute, data, and energy. Energy is the foundation of everything. If oil prices don't start coming down, if geopolitical tensions continue, it will keep impacting supply chains, financial markets, global stability. This is bigger than the COVID lockdown. This is a system shift. Follow me if you want to understand where all of this is going.
What is that system shifting into? It's shifting into that digital system. Because remember, with 6G is 5G. You cannot push, the chip cannot function on 5G. It's not strong enough. But with 6G, they're able to push out that signal and basically use that to control the RFID chip that they plan on putting in people's right hand and in their foreheads, man. And they'll be able to make them a part of the Internet of Things, so to speak, through the 5G. See, all the things have to fall into place. All right, let's continue.
Here it is again. World Health Organization. Prepare for what's coming. Let's check out what is coming. Oh, well, what's this? Energy lockdown has started. Let's look further into it. I see this oil price right here. Let's go further into it. All right, well, check this out. The International Energy Agency published an energy lockdown. Alternating agency. Let's go further into it.
Oops. Now look at that energy lockdown that has started. Now I can't zoom into the picture yet, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a screenshot and see if I can manipulate it. But until then, let's continue the video.
Price right here. Let's go further into it. All right, well, check this out. The International Energy Agency published an energy lockdown. Alternating driving days based on license plates, mandatory speed limit. Let's keep looking. 3, avoid air travel where alternatives exist. That's most places. Switch from gas cooking to electric. Work from home. Does this all sound familiar? Does it? It's the exact same playbook, but even harsher the second time around. So we cannot be playing games with this one, and it's coming. There's no stopping this energy crisis that they created. Isn't that fucking funny? They created it, and now we have to deal with it. It's how it always fucking goes. Entertainment purposes only. Here it is again. World Health Organization. Prepare for what's coming. Let's check out what is.
Yeah, these lockdowns ain't no joke. Now, remember when we saw the COVID lockdowns, it wasn't a joke, like he said. They were said to only be here for a week, and they were here for years. To this day, you have Walmart. Remember, that shit was 24 hours now. That motherfucker closes at 12. All right, same thing with a major store here called Myers. Things have a curfew now, right? And this is part of that gradualism, because as they gradually introduce this system, there's certain rights and freedoms that they encroach on, and they do that in a slick way in which people don't really realize it until later on down the line when those freedoms are gone. Okay, because when you're in the midst of it, you're still trying to process it. But by the time it's fully implemented, then they're able to like, oh shit, yeah, we did get screwed over and this, that, and the third. Then it starts making sense, but it's usually after the fact. You know what I'm saying? Pay close attention. Let's keep going.
The biggest lockdown since COVID is coming, and they won't warn you until it's too late. This is not about a virus. This is about an energy shock so severe it will freeze the global economy. As the Middle East war chokes the Strait of Hormuz, crude oil is surging past $175 a barrel, and the dominoes are falling. Let's look at the map. Europe is falling first. The UK and Germany rely heavily on imported gas. Without it, factories are halting operations, and rolling blackouts manufacturing giants like Japan and South Korea are entirely dependent on imported fuel. They are actively rationing power and reducing train schedules right now. Even in the U.S., surging trucking costs mean fertilizer and food prices explode, while gas hits $7 a gallon. The grid is buckling. Soon, governments will use the exact same playbook from 2020. Australia is already telling citizens to avoid non-essential journeys. Next comes work-from-home mandates to save fuel. Then, restricted travel. In 2020, they called it a public health measure. In 2026, they will call it an energy conservation mandate. The result is exactly the same. You don't leave your house. The energy lockdown has started. So how do you trade a restricted economy? You use a barbell strategy. First, you buy the cause, traditional energy. ETFs like XLE will print cash at $175 a barrel. Second, you buy the effect, remote infrastructure. When travel is restricted, cloud computing ETFs like CLOU become the backbone of the isolated economy. The biggest lockdown since COVID is coming, and they won't warn you until it's too late.
Yeah, they ain't gonna warn you Americans till it's too late. The rest of these countries are already putting in different measures. They already making preparations to set things aside so the people are actually be in good condition. But America's leaving you hanging because they are the individuals that created this. Alright, it says Ecclesiasticus, or Ecclesiastes 12 and 5. Also, when they shall be afraid of that which is high, and fear shall be in the way, and the almond tree shall flourish. Hold on. My bad. Ecclesiastes 12 and 4. It says, and the doors shall be shut in the streets, and the sound of the grinding is low, and he shall rise up at the voice of the bird, and all the daughters of music shall be brought low. All of this weekend partying and people waiting till the weekend and holidays, all of that shit is going out the window. And you saw that with this last Christmas. A lot of motherfuckers didn't do anything. Alright, because these holidays and all of that shit is going out the window. So all of this mirth and all of this happiness is coming to an end. It says Ecclesiastes 12 and 5. Also, when they shall be afraid of that which is high, and fears shall be in the way, and the almond tree shall flourish, and the grasshopper shall be a burden. Why? Because they're going to go unchecked. You ain't going to have a bunch of people that's working in the fields, right? Esau's not spraying his chemicals, trying to regulate the insect population. You're going to have it to where they're just doing their thing. Their numbers are increasing and they able to just do as they please. And nobody's going to be out there collecting these different fruits and vegetables from the fields. And you already seeing that, all right? Especially with these migrants being criminalized by ICE, right? It says, also, when they shall be afraid of that which is high, right? And these powers and shit, because pretty soon people are going to understand that they're going to fear this government, because everybody's going to have to find out the hard way, or the vast majority, because if you want to know, you know what's up, that this government is not your friend. The system is not your friend, and they built to harvest you, whether it be your organs, your time, your spirit, whatever it may be, all right? It says, and the grasshopper shall be a burden, and a desire shall fail, because man goeth to his long home, and the mourners go about the streets. Yeah, like I said, like when we was out there preaching tonight on the Saturday night, you see them out there partying and bullshitting. That shit is gonna be out the window. It says, thy pomp is also brought down to the grave, and the noise of thy vials, the worm is spread under thee. This is Isaiah 14:11. Thy pomp is brought low, right? Because this place is a proud place. Esau is a proud man. And that's why a lot of these other countries hate America, because of that arrogance, right? It says thy pomp has brought down, says brought is brought down to the grave, and the noise of the vial and the worm is spread under thee, and the worms cover thee. And that word right there, worms, it goes back into talking about corrosion, okay? Because what do? They decompose. Worms decompose a dead body. All right, and they break it down. So this is what you see with this system. All right, the Heavenly Father has made it so that this system has been corroding since the 70s, since we took that blow in the Vietnam War, really since the space program, and now it's being brought low. It says, "How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou brought, or how art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations?" And Esau is making his devil weak now. All right, now that everybody's looking at Esau and at America like, oh, are these them devils, man? Okay, these are the motherfucking devils that dropped Nagasaki, the two atomic bombs on Nagasaki and Hiroshima. These same individuals right now are looking real weak. What happened? Iran captured 125 Delta Force operatives, the best force in the world. Same ones that went into Nicaragua and caused havoc in hell. I mean, not Nicaragua, Venezuela. And they stood no chance in Iran, though. Now, check this out.
The war in West Asia has done something that economists have
All right, and this is fair use. Fair use.
feared for decades. It has disrupted the flow of energy on a scale never seen before. From Seoul to London, from New Delhi to Beijing, every government is scrambling. None of them have a silver bullet for the problem. The response to the shortage is varied. Some countries are releasing emergency reserves. Some are telling citizens when they can take out their cars. Some are freezing fuel prices before anger spills onto the streets. And at least one country is going in a completely different direction. It believes this crisis is not a problem to manage. Instead, it's an opportunity to transform. Tonight, we break down the tools that various governments are using to survive this shock.
The world is running low on energy. And it is not a gradual decline, it is a shock. A war in West Asia has disrupted the flow of energy like nothing before it. How are governments around the world responding to the challenge? The response has been varied, but it falls into a clear pattern. Some countries are controlling supply, others are capping prices. A few are restricting how energy is used, and one has taken a completely different direction altogether. The first tool is supply control. This means governments stepping in to decide where energy goes and where it does not. In India, the government invoked emergency powers. This tool is rarely used, but it allowed the government to redirect energy supplies across the entire system. Refineries were ordered to maximize production of LPG. To protect that supply, India cut gas allocations to industrial users. Factories came second. Kitchens came first. The government also barred households with piped gas connections from refilling LPG cylinders. India also moved to secure its import pipeline. It expanded its energy supply network from 27 countries to 41. The logic is straightforward. Do not depend on any single region. China took a similar approach, but in the opposite direction. Where India restricted what came in, China restricted what went out. It banned the export of refined fuel, keeping its petrol and diesel within its own borders. Japan took a third route entirely. It released supply it had already held in reserve. Prime Minister Sanai Takaichi confirmed the decision this week.
Japan announced its biggest ever release of emergency oil reserves. The government approved the release of 15 days' worth of private sector reserves. 3 countries, 3 versions of the same tool. Control what moves and where. The second tool is price control. When fuel prices rise sharply, they hit ordinary people the hardest. So governments across the world have moved to limit how much prices can rise, and in some cases bring them down. Spain launched a €5 billion plan that cuts the value-added tax on petrol, reducing the cost at the pump by 30 euro cents per liter. Portugal and Sweden announced similar measures. Vietnam waived customs duties on fuel imports through April. Taiwan introduced a mechanism that absorbs 60% of any price increase before it reaches the consumer. Germany banned petrol stations from raising prices more than once per day. Brazil suspended taxes on diesel. Morocco introduced a direct subsidy for road transport firms. Greece capped profit margins on fuel and supermarket goods for 3 months. It also set aside 300 million euros in direct relief for households and farmers. The third tool is rationing. This is the most direct intervention of all. Governments telling citizens how much energy they can use and when. South Korea moved on multiple fronts simultaneously. Cars will be allowed on the road based on their license plate numbers. Odd and even plates on alternate days. A hard cap on road fuel consumption. If the energy situation worsens, those restrictions will extend to private vehicles as well. South Korea is also restarting nuclear reactors to raise power generation. And it has eased its own limits on coal use in power plants, a measure it had previously stepped back from on environmental grounds. The crisis forced a reversal. Elsewhere in Europe, Slovenia became the first European Union member to introduce fuel rationing. And then there is Britain. Where most governments are buying time, Britain is using this crisis to accelerate a longer-term shift. The government introduced new rules requiring heat pumps and solar panels in all new homes across England. The message from London is deliberate. The solution to an energy shock is not just more supply, it is less dependence. Experts have called this the largest energy crisis yet. No single tool will be enough to resolve it. And the world's response, fragmented, urgent, and still evolving, makes that perfectly clear.
Yeah, buddy. Shockingly clear.
Response, fragmented, urgent, and still evolving, makes that perfectly clear.
And it's fragmented because that very reason. They want to be able to control, okay? And that's what it lets you know straight up. It's all about controlling the movement of resources, okay? And everybody has come up with these measures, but have you heard anything for America? No. All you do, they haven't placed any energy regulation laws in place, keeping these different companies from it, basically taking advantage of the people and shit. They haven't done anything like that. Okay? America acting like there's nothing going on. They not even communicating that shit to the public and helping them get prepared. Why? Because like Michael Jackson said, all I got to say is they don't really care about us. Alright, let's see. It says, this is 2nd Ezra 9, starting at 18. And now, when I prepared the world which was not yet made, even for them that dwell, and that now live, no man spake against me. It says, for then everyone obeyed, but now the manner of them which are created in this world that's made are corrupted by perpetual seed, and by a law which is unsearchable, rid themselves. And that law that's unsearchable is these laws, statutes, and commandments that the Heavenly Father gave to the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. That's part of our heritage. Our inheritance is these laws, statutes, and commandments. And that being stripped of us is one of the main reasons why 2/3 of our people aren't shit. Now, that's not to say that we didn't have some niggas in Israel before this. That's just historical. That's one of the main reasons why we're in this situation is because the majority of our people, some niggas, man. Yet, we are in this situation, to this fullest extent because they stripped us of these law, statutes, and commandments for the most part. So our fathers and our fathers' fathers and mothers and grandmothers they didn't come up underneath this. So a lot of us didn't. The vast majority of us didn't have these things. Didn't have this word. Didn't have this truth. And so we've been in a broken state ever since then. Okay. It says. For then everyone obeyed, but now the manner of them which was created in this world that I made are corruptible by perpetual seed. And who's that perpetual seed? The perpetually wicked seed is Esau Edom. Because he's always going to be a fucking devil. He's always going to be a demon. He's always going to be on demon time because that is his nature. That's what he was created to do that. Alright? He was created to be the biggest nigga on the planet. And the thing that he did that was one of the most deceptive is he convinced y'all that you the niggas. And he's really the realest nigga, man. The realest nigga alive. So I considered the world, and behold, there was peril because of the devices that were come into it. Alright, and once again, the translation for the devices is these wicked, evil plans, these schemes. Okay, and this is all this is. This situation is just another one of those devices that Esau's come up with to basically utilize it to take advantage and control the vast majority as we come into this third world war and this mark of the beast being made mandatory. It says, let's keep going. This is 2nd Ezra 15 and 14. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein. Woe means destruction. It says, for the sword and the destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another with swords in their hands. Alright? Now, what do I mean with that? Okay? Let's look at how these things are basically coming into fruition. Check this out. Now it says MAGA hands out 30-round AR-15 magazines in front of the Virginia State Capitol. And he ain't handed it out to niggas, man. He handed it out to a bunch of Edomites, man. The realest nigga.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you very much. Thank you. Very welcome.
Look at the way they handle. Look, man, motherfuckers coming up. There's a lot of these are militia members. All right, like here in Michigan, they have the Michigan militia, and those motherfuckers, they take that type of shit seriously. Okay, about making preparations because one of the main things they do is they train their families and each other in preparation for this system being shut down because they already knew, what the government was going to do. So they're in preparation for an anarchist society already. All right. But Esau out here passing out these 30-round magazines. You think this because they want to pass it out, protect each other from themselves? No, they pretend, or they have thought pattern to utilize these motherfucking rounds and put them in you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans in this race war that is to come. All right, so let's look at that one more again. Second Ezra 15 and 15. It says, "For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands." All right, and this don't have to be a literal sword. Sword can be a gun, and that representation of that sword in that video was those rounds, okay, being passed out for the AR-15s. Okay, it says, "And one people shall rise up against another with swords in their hands." These race wars are right around the corner as well. That's going to be part of that chaos. But there shall be sedition among men. So what's part of that sedition? When they are telling you prepare for what the government's about to do, right? Putting you in that mind state of making preparations. They put you in that mind state of, going against you so-called Negroes and Latinos and natives. They put you in that mind state of what is it? Food rationing, supply rationing. Okay, that sedition is coming because they're telling you, hey, this government is trying to kill you. They can look at as men of the Lord. They can look at that and say, well, hey, that's a form of sedition because you're talking about the government in a negative light. Okay, and you already know them small hats. As soon as you get to talking about them, they already consider that a form of sedition. Oh, we can't have that, man. They can't talk about them. They can do no wrong with they small ass hats and they big ass noses. No. It says, "For there shall be sedition among men and invading one another." Right? Cats worried about what's going on over here. They invading individuals because they have food and they don't. Their families is going hungry and they don't have shit. What you think they gonna do? Now, in a normal society, in a time like that, what they would do is they would barter and trade. But since people have been so fucking comfortable in this country, all they know how to do is go back and forth to the store and buy food. Right? We weren't prepared for these things because good times make weak men. All right. And right now we are in a time of weak ass men. And the women is all out of order. Right now, it's chaotic. This is the last of days, man. And the realization that people aren't prepared for what's about to happen is going to hit them like a ton of bricks, and they're going to panic. And the first thing they'll do is kill their mama for some change if they had to. They'll do whatever the fuck it is that it takes for them to be able to eat and for their families to eat, even if they call you friend. It says, "They shall not regard their kings." Right. And what they have today, this Saturday, they had the No Kings protest all across the U.S., especially in New York, right? So it said, "They shall not regard their kings, nor princes, in the course of their actions shall stand in their power." So whatever comes to their mind, however they want to handle the situation, it's going to be in their power to do it at that time. All right. It says, "A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able." Why? Because it's going to be anarchy. And these cats is asking for anarchy and they don't understand what that embodies. They just think about, oh, we ain't going to have to do this and that and we can do whatever we want. Yeah, that also involves cats clicking up and mass amount of murder and rape and robbery and all kind of shit, man. So it ain't some great thing, okay? For because of the pride of the cities shall be troubled. For because of their pride, the cities shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. Why they gonna be afraid? Man, because look, if a man is afraid, you know a woman is gonna definitely be afraid. So in those times, they say these men are gonna be like women, right? Men are gonna be out here scared, terrified, and in that terrified manner, they're gonna be doing all kind of crazy shit because a motherfucker that's worse. Only thing worse than a man with a gun is a scared man with a gun. Okay. It says, "And a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of lack of bread and for great tribulation. And as we said, them trucks ain't gonna be rolling. You already see they coming up with these energy mandates so people can actually be able to have fuel, be able to eat, be able to ration out the fuel. America don't have any of those mandates set in charge. All they're gonna do is tell you one day this is what you got to do and you got to do it, and if you don't do it, this is what we gonna do. And trust and believe, it's not gonna be nothing that you want to be have your ass on the line dealing with. It says a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor. Okay, shit is going to get real. All right, without a doubt. It says, "Behold, saith the Most High, I will call together all the kings of the earth to reverence me, which are from the rising of the sun to the south, from the east and Lebanese, and turn themselves one against another, and repay the things that they have done to them, have done them." Right. So the Most High is in preparation of putting not just making American civil war, but all these nations are about to go to another world's war. And trust and believe, they all, the vast majority, are going to unify against the United States because they've been making all these backdoor deals and fucking over countries for decades. So it's all going to fall on America's head because it's prophecy. It says, "Like as they do, yet this day unto my chosen, so will I do also, and recompense in their bosom. Thus saith Yahweh Hashem Yahushai." That's why this anarchy is going to come to this place, because they got to pay. And if you're thinking that you didn't do nothing on this side, you got to pay for what your forefathers did like we did. It says, "Like as they do, yet this day unto my chosen, so will I do also, and recompense in their bosom. Thus saith Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, my right hand shall not spare the sinner, and my sword shall not cease over them that shed innocent blood upon the earth." And the Most High is about to make this happen. All right? Judgment is coming. And in preparation to that, leading up to that, you see it happening. These fuel prices, fools about to stop moving. Everything is happening in the process, but it's happening fast. So in preparation for it, get your household in order, get your spirit in order. Hey, seek the Heavenly Father where He may be found. All right. So that's just an update on what's going on with that. I pray you will edify. And until the next time, I bid you shalom.